Welcome to Buddhism in Daily Life, where today we're diving into the fascinating world of mind reading through body language and gesture. In this video, we'll share with you 3 powerful and easy-to-apply techniques to help you understand what others are truly thinking. We'll also explore a captivating Buddhist story that teaches us the wisdom behind these methods. If you're ready to unlock the secrets of human behavior, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and turn on notifications so you never miss our enlightening content. To understand the mind of another, one must cultivate mastery over 3 essential techniques. These methods are not merely tools but keys to unlocking the unspoken thoughts of those around us. Like the steady flow of a river, once you grasp these techniques, the inner workings of a person's mind become clear, allowing you to perceive what lies beneath the surface. Let me share with you a story that carries the wisdom of these techniques. A tale from a distant village, long ago. In this village, 2 brothers lived. The elder was blind, spending his days in quiet contemplation, while the younger toiled in the fields as a farmer. Yet despite his hard work, crops were constantly ravaged by animals. Troubled by this, the younger brother had an insight. Why not ask my blind brother for help? Though he lacked sight, his ears were sharp and attuned to the world. So the younger brother built a small hut in the field and asked his elder sibling to sit within. "Brother," he said, "if you hear the sound of animals, shout, and they will flee, leaving our crops unharmed." The blind brother agreed, and for many days he guarded the field with only his voice as his tool. One day, a deer broke through the fence and fled. Not long after, a king chasing the deer arrived at the field. "Ting." Being the blind brother asked, "Have you seen a deer pass by?" The blind man replied, "Your Majesty, I am blind, but I can tell you that the animal that left this field is not worth your pursuit." Surprised, the king asked, "How can you, who cannot see, know this?" The blind brother calmly said, "The creature you seek is a pregnant doe. It is unworthy of a king's chase." The king, amazed, wondered how a blind man could know such a thing. He ordered his men to capture the doe and confirm the truth. When they returned, the king discovered that the blind brother had spoken rightly. Astonished, the king realized that the blind man saw not with his eyes, but with a deeper wisdom, a wisdom that allowed him to perceive truths hidden from ordinary sight. This is the wisdom we too can gain by mastering the art of reading the mind. To unravel the hidden truths of the heart, one must walk the path of wisdom, with patience and humility. In the story of the blind brother and the king, we find a deeper lesson in how insight often comes from within, not just from external senses. The king, astonished by the blind brother's ability to discern that the doe was pregnant, was left with even more questions. His curiosity turned toward a personal matter, and he sought answers not from worldly wisdom, but from the blind man's inner knowledge. "Tell me," the king demanded, "is my wife faithful to me?" The blind brother, taken aback by the nature of the question, responded, "Your Majesty, why do such doubts cloud your mind after so many years of marriage? But since you insist on asking, I will give you an answer, though it may not be the one you expect." King, growing impatient, threatened the blind man with death if he did not receive a clear response. The blind brother calmly replied, "If you truly seek the answer to this, you must leave me alone with your queen in a room, for only then can I give you the truth you seek." Though initially angered by such a request, the king eventually agreed and ordered his commander to leave the blind brother and the queen alone. Once inside the room, the blind man asked to touch the queen. Outraged by this request, the queen lashed out in fury, beating the blind man with her hands and feet. The blind man, managing to escape, returned to the king. When he came before the king, bruised and battered, he said, "Your Majesty, do you now see the answer to your question?" The queen, when tested, revealed the strength of her virtue and loyalty, not through words, but through her actions. She protected her honor fiercely, just as she has protected her faithfulness to you. You need not doubt her any longer. The king, upon hearing this, realized that his doubts were unfounded. In this way, the blind brother revealed the truth not by seeing with his eyes, but by understanding the deeper nature of human behavior. Like the teachings of the Buddha, the story shows that wisdom not in what is seen, but in what is perceived through insight and compassion. In the spirit of Buddhist wisdom, this story teaches us that true insight comes not only from sharp perception, but also from deep understanding of human nature. As the tale unfolds, the blind brother's wisdom becomes a mirror to the king's own insecurities, yet it also reveals the truth in ways that are both profound and unexpected. After revealing the queen's infidelity, the blind brother's insight into human behavior was once again tested when the king, now overcome with curiosity, asked another question. Am I truly my father's son, or do I belong to someone else? The king, despite his status and power, felt the same gnawing doubts that often cloud the minds of ordinary people. The blind brother, with the calmness of a sage, advised the king to let go of such a trivial question, reminding him that he was the ruler regardless of his lineage. But the king, driven by his desire for absolute truth, insisted, I want to know the answer, and I won't rest until I do. The blind man, after making the king promise not to react with anger, said, You are indeed your father's son, but you live under the shadow of a miserly merchant. The king, startled by this response, rushed to his mother for confirmation. His mother, revealing a hidden truth, confirmed that while he was his father's son, his character had indeed been influenced by the presence of a stingy merchant in his early years. Delighted yet confused, the king returned to the blind brother. How did you know about this shadow? How could you possibly have understood this part of my life? With a gentle smile, the blind brother explained, Your Majesty, it is not only through sight that one knows the world. You asked me many questions, and I answered them truthfully. Yet, despite giving you the wisdom you sought, I have not received a single reward or token of gratitude. From this, I deduce that you have a tendency towards stinginess, which must have been influenced by someone from your past. Hearing this, the king laughed heartily. The blind brother's keen awareness of human tendencies had once again revealed the truth. King, now humbled, declared, Whatever you ask, I will give you, for your wisdom surpasses sight. This story teaches that true wisdom does not require the ability to see with the eyes, but the ability to perceive with the heart and mind. Just as in the teachings of the Buddha, it is through understanding the nature of our own thoughts and action, and those of others, that we find clarity in life. The blind brother symbolizes the inner wisdom we all possess, reminding us that answers to life's deepest questions often come from looking within. In the way of Buddhist teaching, understanding the mind begins with awareness and presence. The blind brother, although lacking physical sight, demonstrates a deeper vision, the ability to read the language of human nature. When the king, in awe of his insight, asked how he could possibly know so much, the blind brother answered with profound simplicity, Your Majesty, I may be blind by nature, but the mind reveals itself through subtle action. If I could see, I could easily read these signals in the eyes, lips, and movements of others. But in my blindness, I perceive through how people carry out their tasks and how they behave when given responsibilities. From these actions, I can discern their thoughts. King, eager to learn, asked, So does that mean I too can read someone's thoughts? The blind brother nodded and replied, Certainly, you can also understand the thoughts of others. But before you do, there is one essential step. You must first calm your own mind and bring it fully into the present moment. When your mind is settled in the present, only then can you grasp the thoughts of others, for they too are thinking in the now. Paused, then continued, If your mind is caught in past events, how can you understand someone whose mind is in the present? Therefore, the first task is to focus your mind, quiet distractions, and enter the stillness of the present moment. Once you do that, understanding the thoughts of others becomes possible. With this teaching, the blind brother revealed the first of the 3 ways to know the mind of others. The first method is to observe the eyes. The eyes may be silent, but they speak volumes. If you learn to interpret the signals in someone's eyes, you can understand what is going on in their mind. This teaching aligns with the Buddhist practice of mindfulness and awareness. When we focus our attention fully on the present and observe with care, the subtle language of the mind reveals itself, not only in words, but in gestures and movement. The eyes, often called the windows to the soul, reflect our innermost thoughts, and through deep observation, we can gain insight into the mind of another. The blind brother, now immersed in his wisdom, continued to share the teachings he had learned from the revered Gautama Buddha. He explained to the king, "Though I no longer have the gift of sight, I once did, and in those days I learned to read the thoughts of others through their eyes alone. The eyes reveal more than we might expect. They speak the language of the mind, and by observing them closely, one can understand what a person is thinking and what they are about to do." He then gave the king a detailed explanation. "If you wish to discern the thoughts of others, focus on their eyes, on their gaze, direction they are looking, and how they behave in conversation. For example, if their eyes wander here and there while you speak, they may be searching for an escape from the conversation or hiding something. A person avoiding direct eye contact is often fearful that their deception might be uncovered. On the other hand, when someone's eyes are fixed on you, it suggests honesty, interest, and a desire to engage." The blind brother elaborated further. "Pay attention to the eyebrows as well. When a person looks away with their eyebrows lowered, it often indicates deep thought or worry. Raised eyebrows, accompanied by widened eyes, usually reflect surprise or curiosity. Even the pupils, the dark centers of the eyes, have much to say. If they dilate and grow larger, it signifies that the person is excited, happy, or drawn to what you are saying. Conversely, constricted pupils suggest discomfort, dislike, or even anger." Continued, "Observe the whites of the eyes, the sclera. If they appear red, it indicates fatigue, stress, or illness. The person may not want to engage in conversation, or could be hiding something. I once encountered a traveler whose eyes constantly darted around during our conversation. His restlessness and lack of eye contact revealed his unease, and upon asking further questions, I discovered he was hiding a secret plan." The blind brother also emphasized the importance of reading facial expressions. Just as the eyes convey thoughts, the face reveals emotions. Subtle changes in facial expressions can show if someone is disappointed, sad, or extremely happy. By paying close attention to these signals, you can understand what they feel inside. The face, Your Majesty, is like a picture, a reflection of a person's inner world. In this way, the blind brother taught the king that the key to understanding the thoughts of others lies in observing their eyes and expressions closely. A wisdom deeply aligned with the Buddha's teachings on mindfulness and awareness of the present moment. The face and eyes, when observed with care and focus, reveal the hidden language of the mind. The blind brother continued his teachings, explaining to the king the importance of understanding body language. He said, "Your Majesty, the third way to read the mind of others is through the language of gestures and body movement. Often, people communicate without speaking, and their hands, arms, and posture reveal their inner thoughts and feelings. This silent language is powerful and can tell us much about a person's true emotion." He elaborated with examples. For instance, when someone taps their fingers quickly, it often shows impatience, boredom, or a desire to end the conversation. I once encountered a merchant trying to sell me something, and as we spoke, I noticed him tapping his fingers. I realized he was anxious and nervous, so I negotiated a better price. The merchant was surprised, but I knew his restless gesture revealed his unease. Another common gesture is crossing the arms. When someone does this, it usually means they are defensive or uncomfortable with what is being said. It's like they are building a barrier to protect themselves or hide their thoughts. If you notice someone crossing their arms, it is a sign to be gentle and cautious in your approach. By speaking kindly and making them feel safe, you can encourage them to open up. On the other hand, he continued, when a person leans forward during a conversation, it shows they are interested in what you are saying. This movement indicates that they are eager to listen and learn more. It's a sign that they are engaged and focused, absorbing every word. The blind brother then gave another story to illustrate his point. I once met a person who came to me with a frown and crossed arms. Though they said nothing, their body told me they were troubled. By observing the tension in their arms and the furrow in their brow, I asked if they were facing a difficult. They eventually opened up, and I was able to help them, all because I understood the silent language of their body. He concluded, Your Majesty, Whether someone speaks or remains silent, their gestures and body language will always reveal their thoughts. By learning to observe these signs, the way they move, where they place their hands, and how their posture shifts, you will be able to understand anyone's feelings and desires. The king, now deeply intrigued by the blind brother's wisdom, realized that by observing people's eyes, facial expressions, and body language, he could gain profound insight into their thoughts and emotions without the need for spoken words. The blind brother continued his explanation, saying, "I once met a wise teacher who, though calm and composed, leaned in with keen interest whenever a topic intrigued him. His body language showed his eagerness to learn more, even without words. Similarly, you might notice when people touch their faces frequently while speaking. This gesture often reveals inner conflict, deep thought, or the formation of a new idea. These small touches act like clues, allowing you to glimpse the hidden workings of their mind and heart. To truly excel in understanding others through their body and hand movements, you must be patient, observant, and attentive to the unspoken. These small gestures are like pages in a silent book, revealing what words cannot. They help you connect with others on a deeper level, as you begin to see their emotions and thoughts without them having to say anything aloud. Your Majesty," the blind brother continued, "if you master these 3 methods, understanding eyes, facial expressions, and body language, you will unlock the key to reading the minds of others. But before you can do that, you must first calm your own mind. Only when your mind is fully present can you truly observe others. If you're distracted by the past or preoccupied with the future, you won't notice the subtle movements or expressions that reveal what a person is really thinking. Great sages and enlightened beings possess the ability to look at you with profound calmness and know exactly what's in your heart. They understand your intentions and even your unspoken questions. This is because their minds are focused and peaceful, allowing them to see clearly into the minds of others. If you bring your mind into the present moment, free from distractions, you too will be able to perceive what others are thinking. As we reach the end of this Zen journey, may you take with you the knowledge and understanding that can transform your life. The power to read others begins with mastering yourself." The blind brother smiled and bowed as the king pondered these teachings, realizing the deep wisdom in observing the unspoken language of others. Through calmness and focus, he understood he could connect with others on a deeper level, just as the enlightened ones do. Thank you for joining us on this Buddhism in Daily Life. We hope the techniques you've learned today will help you gain better insight into the thoughts and actions of those around you. Remember, the key to truly reading someone's mind is focus and mindfulness. If you enjoyed this video, please support us by subscribing to our channel, and don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts. We'd love to hear your opinions on how these tips can be applied in your life. Stay tuned for more life-transforming knowledge.